Well, Tommy, thanks for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So how has everything been going, man?
Yeah, I think it's been a quiet time, like a long sleep, a long slumber, and things been quiet, and nothing much have happened, I think. But we've been recording stuff, working on stuff. We wrote some music that we released recently. So I don't think we have not been sleeping, but we have been working in the dark.
That is a very good way to put that, because, with the pandemic, when I talked to Casper, the Conundrum was just coming out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we were in lockdown, and no tours, no anything, and everything just like you said, it just got, everybody seemed to kind of go into the dark of sorts. And like, what was that hard on you in general as a musician and as a person? Or did you find yourself going, okay, if this is going to happen, we just have to continue to be?
I think when we released Conundrum 2020 early that year, we did some tours before that, and we had great shows around in Europe and Scandinavia. We've been out on the Scandinavian tour. Like, it felt like we were flying, we were heading towards our goal. Things were happening, and all of a sudden it was like throwing yourself down a mountain or something. Like, we call it the Ätterstupan in Swedish. Like, it was, everything died. Of course, it was a hard time, because we were like floating in some kind of limbo, not knowing is it going to be a show next week or next month, or is it okay, we postpone 6 months, or like you could never know that this would take this long time. And things have started to like slowly move forward here now, but you never know when will the next backlash be, or what will happen. We're going on tour this week, and what will happen if somebody gets sick? What will happen, and what will happen if there's a new country having an outbreak and lockdowns, and you're worried like in an unhealthy way that we've never been before. But I'm trying to like see past that and trying to look forward.
Well, so with that that concern, like you said, and kind of being worried, does that affect your performance at all when you're on stage, or do you are you able to just kind of clear your mind and just say, like, I'm here now, I have to do this?
Yeah, I actually, we done like the past 2 years, we done 2 shows. One show was in Germany in October last year. That was weird. It was really weird, because everybody was wearing masks, and it was all these restrictions, like COVID IDs and vaccine pass and everything. It was really weird. This Mad Max feeling kind of world.
And it's like mass confusion too, because people are already awkward as it is going to concerts, and then you put all these other things into place, and people are like, what do I do? You know, like it's all very surreal.
You know, I thought about that show. Like, I think it will feel exactly as it's done before, but it didn't. But then we played like two weeks ago in Stockholm. Really nice show that we have planned for a long time, and of course it's been postponed many times, but in the end we made it, and there was no restrictions and anything. And you know, I was thinking a lot when I entered the stage and everything. It felt so naturally, and I was enjoying every second. Didn't think of this dark past anything. It was one of the best moments for a long time, and I really enjoyed it.
It's funny because I feel like as a musician, because I'm also a musician, and my band went on we parted ways right after the pandemic because it was just too hard for us to try to figure things out, like rehearsing and everything. But it was very friendly and everything. But it really did stop everybody in their tracks. But one of the things it did is it made me realize how much I took for granted the ease of just booking a show and getting on stage and playing and hugging people after the show and tasting beers, you know. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't hug you, I can't drink after, you know. And so it was really interesting how everything just had to change. But now I feel like, at least for myself, I'm kind of getting to that point where, okay, it's starting to look like it's slow down. I still can be careful, but I have to go live a little bit, you know. And I watched some footage of that show. It was from the circus arena. And if I was at that show, I already would tell you that would have probably been show of the year, because it was so exciting to see you play all the way over here, you know, because I don't think you guys will ever make it to Atlanta anytime soon, but I got the sense from watching the band that it was electrifying. You
know, it was a seated audience, so I was thinking, like, how will this be? It's the first time ever playing for a seated, like more of a theatrical audience. So I was like, will they applaud after a song? Will they share? Will you know? But it was a better atmosphere than many standing shows. You know, you could feel this I say urge, or like the hunger for live music, for concerts that people had been waiting for. So it was magical. I will remember this night for a long time, for all my life. It was one of the greatest show we've ever done. Also because of that, we played all of our three first records, and
yes, I was just.
It was a long show.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because I feel like seated audiences, and maybe it's just because I'm a little older, I don't know. Like I saw King Crimson a couple times, before the pandemic, and those were seated shows, and you would almost think that the energy would not be as good. But when people are like really focused and they're listening and they're taking in all the music, I can imagine that from your perspective on the stage, it must be a more intense feeling, because you're like, oh, instead of seeing people drinking, people are sitting and watching and listening. So like, how did that play into affecting how you performed that night? Like, did it push you harder, or like what was the overall feel from playing in front of a seated crowd?
You know, I think you could feel that the people were like listening to the music, maybe more like focusing on your ears instead of the visual. But of course we did some special visual stuff too to make the whole thing one notch higher. But you know, we heard them all the time, like they were singing along and sharing and applauding and everything. So I don't think it was like in some way I think it suited us better in many ways. But you know, as much as I love like a mayhem standing audience, you know, crowd surfing, that's great. But this was another dimension of a live performance that we haven't done before, and it was also nice. You know, I don't want to just switch to only seated concerts or only standing concerts, but it was a great experience, and I don't think it like affected me any negative, or so it didn't hold me back or anything. Yeah, I think I lived more on stage maybe than on some standing audience shows. Yeah.
From an artistic standpoint, there's something really cool about feeling like your music and your art is being received by it in an attentive way. Because I agree with you. Like I like the excitement of, you know, standing room shows and seeing people energetic and jumping around and everything. But you know, when I saw Roger Waters years ago at an arena, and the whole place sat down, you could hear a pin drop. But the music and the visuals of everything it was nice because you could put your attention onto that. And like I said, when I was watching the footage from the Circus Arena show, my first thought was that was a show to be seen and heard, because it was incredible. The visuals were just stunning, you know, and to me, it felt like that's what I would think of if I was going to see a Hallas show, you know, lasers and lights and smoke, you know. It was like like you said, it was like a theatrical. It really was.
We try to make it that way, like people were going to the theater or something. And as you are a visitor of the show, you also get a new perspective or a new way of going to a show also. Just as we get the same, you know, a new experience, they also get a new experience. So if a band that you like have a seated show, don't hesitate to don't think it will be a boring, you know, like only old people will sit down show. It could be something else. It could be like something new for you also as a visitor of that kind of show.
Well, I know in Japan, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to only allow you to sit down at certain shows, like, you know, especially like in the 60s and in the 70s, I believe. And, you know, and they always started very early, you know, like right on time, and ended early, you know. And I was like, you know, so it's kind of interesting, just the overall dynamics of just how different seeing live music over the years has changed.
Yeah.
And so you guys are heading out on the road like Thursday, I think, right? Like, the tour kicks off on Thursday, and you have 3 albums to tour for at this point. How is the set list working? Are you playing the albums like in order from song to song, or are you mixing songs up, or how is the format of the set list working?
I think we have been talking a lot about how to make this show, and we're talking about what would people like to hear if they haven't seen us for like 2 or 3 years down in Germany. And so we're thinking, like, of course you want to kick off the show with some good old tunes like they have heard before, something that they know, and
like Star Rider or something,
maybe not first song, but it will we will play it, of course, but yeah, but it's always hard to bring up the new songs, because of course we're still a young band. It's different if Kiss play their brand newest album. People want to hear the old tunes, but
right.
For us, maybe it will be exciting to hear some new songs. So we're trying to mix it up, we're not playing like only the first songs from the first EP and then we carry on forward, but we will mix it up to a nice blend that with like a roller coaster, like a adventure, like a movie, up and down, like high intensity, low intensity, like some time for reflection, some time for slower parts, and then we go up again, just like a live performance should be.
Just very dynamic, and like I said, I've been listening to you guys now for a couple of years now, and especially with Conundrum and then with the Isle of Wisdom, what I loved is that each album seems to have a story, like where you can listen to the album front to back, and you can kind of get this vivid imagery of a story. But at the same time, each song works independently on their own, like in certain, if you mix it up. Is when you guys go into, especially like with Isle of Wisdom, when you guys went in to make this record, do you go in with a concept already in mind, or is it something that kind of writes itself and you guys just kind of build on it?
On this record, it started with me. I had an idea for a story. We were, as we made like a trilogy on our latest releases. We felt like maybe we will do something new. And I had a story or something that I thought about for a long time. And me and Casper sat down and wrote like a script or like a novel. Because I think for me, it's easier to make a story from the beginning, and then I can then when we write music, because I am writing most of the lyrics and the song. So then I can, when I listen to the demos, instrumental demos, I can feel the sense of the song. Is this like a high energetic song? Is it stressful? What kind of feelings does it have? Okay, it fits to this part of the story. Then I can start write. For me, it's easier to work that way. But at the same time, it's a hard way of working too, because you are putting yourself into a corner. You have to. It's a really hard balance to work this way, and it takes a lot of time. I don't know if we will work this way in the future, or if we will find another way. But that is the way that works for me, writing a lot of lyrics and that. But we have tried different ways before. Like on excerpts, we started with just one song, and then we connected the threads to our earlier songs, and like build like you know, like building a tree, you know, like how do you say, like a family tree, you know, putting out all these all the puzzle pieces.
Well, writing conceptually like you do is obviously much different than, you know, just writing the random song that isn't connected by a concept or anything. So, you know, obviously you have this love for, you know, science fiction and fantasy and things like that. How hard is it to keep the story consistent? Like when you're, I mean, like in my mind, I would almost imagine that you kind of come up with the concept of a story, and then you kind of say, okay, I'm going to kind of break it up into chunks and whatnot. Is that kind of like how it is? Because it blows my mind when I'm listening to this album and I'm like, I couldn't keep this straight if I had to do this myself, you know?
It's almost like that. Like you say, you make small pieces, and but I think also like some songs, you know, I had some like lyrical like small words or lines that I had laying down for sometimes that could be about feelings or, you know, other stuff that you can, as you're forming or like sculpturing this manuscript, you can take those parts into the story too. Like maybe the character feel this way, and you take something that you already have, or something that you have been thinking about, or like making a turn in the story towards that way. So same time as you're making this like manuscript, you don't necessarily needs to follow it strictly. You can make turns and make it go into other directions, but we're trying to keep, you know, the story, but at the same time we are it's accepted to make turns also.
Yes. Well, because, you know, in listening to a lot of conceptual stuff, you know, I'm a big fan of that. I love that, you know, the whole idea of it, because it's escapism, you know. And one of the things I love about, you know, and I hope I'm an American, so I'm going to butcher the name of everything, but it is Hallas, correct? Or is it like, what is the proper way to say it for an English jerk like me?
You could say it that way. I say Hallas. But
Hallas. Okay.
But
I want to say it as close as possible, because I know that some of these people are just like, good God, man, really? Another American that can't say our fucking band right? But, you know, anyway, like what I was going to say was, when I'm listening to Hallas's music, it's escapism, you know? Like, I kind of love the idea that I'm taken away, you know, from reality for a little bit. And that's not something a lot of artists do anymore. So where did that influence come from for you to kind of create music like that that is an escape for people?
I think it's the fascination and the love of, you know, all these like old tales and all the history, and you know, like in sci-fi and science fiction, you dream about going into this world, or this outer dimensional places. Like, we are here at this horrible world, but maybe we can go to another place, more horrible, or maybe better, or I think people, we need, you know, there's so much bad things going on in this world. We need to take a break. We need to escape for some moments, to rebuild ourselves, to let our minds be free for just a couple of minutes or so. It's really important for me, and I think for the other guys too. Like, I listen a lot to music that tells stories about what's happening today, about society and everything. It's also important music, but to escape from reality is also important. And I think we need to do that more, maybe.
I totally agree, because, you know, even if it's just for 45 minutes or however long of an album you're listening to, you know, because when I put on Isle of Wisdom, you know, I mean, I was so excited when I did the pre-order, I got the album, the shirt, you know, I would have ordered the band if I could have ordered you guys to come with it, you know, but I was so excited because when I put it on, you know, I did it reminded me of when I was a kid and I was listening to records, and I would go buy Iron Maiden records or whatever. It's like, you know, I put the record on and I'm looking at the artwork and I'm reading the lyrics along with it. And, you know, the record's over and I flip it, you know, and the next thing I know, I'm like, nothing mattered except for what I was doing right then and there.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful thing. And so in some ways, I want to thank you for that, because we don't have a whole lot of that anymore.
No, and thank you for doing that, because, you know, today we got a lot of we got disturbed a lot. Like, you know, the cell phone is ringing, you got a text, somebody's talking to you. You know, I feel today it's like it's harder to focus, to concentrate, like you did way back, but that is how society has evolved. And like we got all this fast information, all these, you know, things going on all the time, thrown in our faces. We are never like here and now, or in this case, listening to an album there and then. But we need to step back a bit and try to focus. Like, if you are thinking about reading this book or something, you feel stressed and could never like have the time to do it, or you feel stressed, like, try to find that time to do that, because it's getting harder, I think. For me, but I think for many people it's getting harder. And like, we are trying to make an album that you can listen from the first song to the last song, and we are really glad if people do so, because then you will get like a broader picture, you will find out more and take your time to think a lot, let yourself dream away, and you know, like almost like meditation or so.
I was actually just going to say, it's almost like, you know, I remember back in the 80s when I would, you know, listening to you really only had, you know, I'm an old fart, man, so I'm 48, dude. So like, you know, when I was, you know, in the 80s, you really only had two ways. You had records and you had cassettes, you know, and even either way, it's like, if you were going to listen to music, like, that was all you were going to do, because, you know, if you put a record on and you went and did something and you came back, like, the record was half done. You know, then you'd have to start it over. And so there's something about, you know, at least for me, like, enjoying vinyl again, in the sense that it makes me like, okay, I can't just pull it up on, I mean, I stream music all the time still because I'm working at my computer a lot, but if I'm listening to a record, like that's all I'm going to do, you know, because I can't, you have to, and it's amazing how it just slows you down. And like, how do you like to listen to music? Do you do the same thing, or?
The last couple of years, I'm streaming a lot because when I can listen to music, it's when I work. I work as a carpenter, so working a lot for myself. So you know, maybe the night before I'm thinking about, okay, tomorrow maybe I will listen to this band, and you know, and then before breakfast I will listen to this album. So I have a lot of time to listening to records, and that's a great thing. But I'm trying to listen to vinyls because I got a lot of records, but you know, it's when you come home, you need to make dinner, you have to clean, you have to do all those things. So it's hard to find the time to. But you know, when you got those moments when you can put on a vinyl record and just, you know, sit down in a nice chair, have a glass of beer or something, that's relaxing. That's a nice day.
And it's you know, one of the things I was just thinking about as we were just talking about the whole getting away in listening to music. What is some of the music that takes you away? You know, so like if Hallas is a band that, like one of the bands that I love to listen to, you know, take like what takes you away?
It could be much different music. I like music that's some kind of extreme to in how to say, extreme music in some case. Like it doesn't have to be the hardest music, it doesn't have to be the calmest music, it can be something of it, you know. Music that takes me away. I sometimes I listening to Bo Hansson, Swedish keyboard or organ Hammond player. Really dreamy music. I like to listen to like instrumental music from Dungen. It could be black metal that could take me away. You know, if it's some kind of story or some kind of, like, you know, concept, that prog rock, of course, a lot of prog rock like Camel or Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, those old records, you can listen to the full piece and you can, like, dream yourself away, because it's many of those records are like a movie, you know. It got this like it always have this dramatical curve, you know, like it starts with an intro and then something happens, it's going somewhere, and then you have this part when you are thinking about what is happening, you know, and then you have it's going upwards and then it's going down, you know. It's like a movie listening, and that is interesting, and that's, you know, like dramatic records.
One of the things I wanted to bring up too was the video for Ellusion's Gate. One of the highlights of my year, man. That video was so, it's like the most horribly amazing sci-fi movie ever made. I was like, if I made a sci-fi movie, like it would look like that, but not as cool, you know, so where did that come from? Like, I mean, because you were obviously the star of that one, man, because that was just great.
It's really, how do you say? It's fun to hear you saying that, because we were not supposed to make a video for this record. We talked a little bit about it, but we didn't really have time, but then all of a sudden, like, I think it was our record label down in Europe that said we need a video. Okay, but the release is in about like a month. Yeah, and we talked to our Swedish record label, like, okay, can we do a video? Yeah, and I said, okay, I could film it, but we cannot. We don't have the time to cut it or to make special effects or anything. But yeah, we had some like, okay, what can we do? Like every other time before, except for Tear of a Traitor. That was not us making the video, but we have done all our other videos. So, okay, let's do something easy and just try to make it look like a B Italian splatter movie, sci-fi style. I think the fans will like that. So we tried our best to make something, and that was what we could come up with for that like short amount of time. We had some footage. We are following this dark hooded man. I know those scenes were the most horrible like hours of my life. You know, we were like we grabbed this diesel and electric engine out in the forest. You know, it weighed like 2,000 million tons. It was so heavy. And then when we came to the location, it didn't work. We were out so we had to come up with different ideas then. Driving to in the middle of the night, driving to like we were not recording it we were like on the countryside. And all of a sudden we find this company who could rent us a smaller diesel electric engine, and then we got some battery lights. So we had all these downfalls, all these like setbacks, but the video in the end it became a video that it was nothing like we had imagined. But I'm glad that you like it. We have one person in the.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I have probably watched that video maybe 10 times or something like that. Like every now and then, I just put it on because it just I just laugh. I mean, but like not in a bad way. But like I'm just like, it reminds me of the old Ed Wood movies. Do you know Ed Wood? He was like he made these really low budget movies, like where you could see like the spaceship but the string on it and everything. And I just I was watching the video and I was like, this is just brilliant, because I feel like so many artists try to do videos but they take themselves so seriously, and I was like, it just looked fun, but at the same time it works with the song. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so over the top.
It's it became a special movie. Indeed. Next time I hope someone else makes it.
Let someone else haul the diesel generator for you.
Never again.
Well, that was the other thing I was gonna ask you, because I've only got a couple more things to ask, but one of them was being with the theatrical content of the Hallas music and the songs. Could you ever see a movie like being made like around the concept of one of the albums or something?
Yeah, it would fit great. I think I've been starting to like write more detailed about the whole concept, but it takes a lot of time, and it's already done, so to say. But we are really into like if we could make like music to a movie or something. We are very interested in that. It's another perspective of making music, of making stories. It's another thing than a record to make visual things. That would be like really a dream come true. And I think the trilogy would be a great story if somebody out there, a director, is interested. Just give us a call.
I'll have to ask around for you. Not that I know any directors, but maybe one of the 20 people that hear this podcast will be a director. And like,
oh yeah, you never know.
Like, last movie, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Italian BS splatter style. That would be great.
Well, so with the tour coming up, you guys are obviously doing a lot of shows over there on your side of the country and or the world, I should say. Is there any chance North America will ever see Hallas come by and melt our faces?
Yeah, we're talking a lot about North America, and I really think that going over there wouldn't be a waste or anything. I think, I see a lot of comments, and we got a lot of messages from whole the American continent. People want us to come play, so we are trying, and I think maybe if we're lucky, maybe next year we could come over. That's our plan, and if things go as we want, maybe 2023.
Well, you have to come to Atlanta, and if you do, you can crash in my basement.
Yeah.
So
and we can try all your gear behind you there on the wall.
Yes, and we can even stay up until 11 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit late, but yeah.
It'll be even later for you coming over here,
like, for such an special occasion and everything. I will be up late. Yeah, that would be great.
North America would love. I know. I would love to see you guys over here. So please, definitely keep me posted and let me know.
Just as the rock, heavy metal, and like alternative rock music scene in Europe is really good, but we like Swedes, we hear a lot about North America, and all the bands know each other and tell their stories about going on tour in North America. Of course, everybody said it's really special in many ways. But we want to go. I think a lot of people, like, there is a scene in the US that is really great, and it would be nice to do some shows over there.
It's really been amazing, especially over the past decade or so, to see bands, like Graveyard and Cadaver from Germany and Lucifer from Sweden, and they come over and they play small venues here, but I mean, people love that, and they love the bands and they go see them, and so like I'm still waiting for my Swedish invasion to like come over and just take over because I hate most of the American bands. I really do. I was telling my wife, all my favorite bands are either in Sweden or Finland, and I'm like, I might just need to go over there for like a summer and just go, follow all you guys around and do a show everywhere I can. Just to see.
You should come to Sweden and visit Muskelrock festival in Småland. That's really legendary. They gather all these obscure bands from around Europe, and many Swedish Scandinavian bands play there. It's the best.
I know some good friends of mine. His name is Jacob. He plays in a band called Children of the Sun there in Sweden, and he is a big fan of you guys. And I told him, I said, well, if you guys can get a show with Hallas, you let me know. I'm gonna fly. I'll fly to come see that.
Sweden is a small country, so I think we will play with them. I've heard some songs, and I think we have played some festival together, and I think they're a cool band. And
well, you probably just made his day when he hears that, so he won't believe it. I'll have to send it to him. Well, Tommy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk, and congratulations on Isle of Wisdom again, which is just fantastic, and thank you for making some great music that I've all the way over here in Atlanta I enjoy in my basement with my beer, and but you guys have done some fantastic stuff, and I can't wait to see what else happens, and good luck with all your shows coming up.
And thank you for having me. It was really nice talking to you.